All right, good night, everyone, and welcome to day number 5 of our medical missionary training. I know you guys have been having a blast as we went deeper and deeper into the laws of health. And the feedback we've been getting have been excellent, and you guys are learning a lot. Now, tonight, I want to introduce to you our speaker. She is a trained medical missionary from the beautiful island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. She attends the Evesham SDA Church, and she is no stranger to public speaking. Now, I must let you know that our speaker here is ready to deliver a pack message for you here tonight. I sort of put her on the spot because she didn't realize we were live streaming and all of that stuff. But I know, given her history and her credentials, the large stage, this platform is no new thing for her. So I really, first of all, want to thank her for standing up to the challenge and bringing this message of abstemiousness for you tonight. So without further ado, and I must say that she is a wife and mother of 2, right? So she is happily married. If we have any men on here tonight, she is happily married. And let me, without further ado, hand you over to Sister Roxanne John. Sister Roxanne John, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Jason, Coach Jason. Good night to everyone. And it is great to be part of this crash course on the laws of health. And tonight we are going to look at abstemiousness. It is a big word, yes, but with simple meaning, and it is very impactful. So I believe that tonight we will be excited in getting into a little bit of what this is all about. Let me remind us in Exodus 15 and verse 26, what says, "And the Lord said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, I will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes. I will put none of these diseases upon you, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee." And we can pick that up in Exodus 15 and verse 26. Now, and I'm sure, Jess, you would have heard for the week that disease never comes without a cause. And the definition of disease that we have been learning for the week, and I believe by now we all can recite it with our eyes closed, that disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from the violation of the laws of health. So tonight, we are reminded of the laws of health: pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. And so what we're talking about tonight is simply temperance. And in 1 Corinthians 9 and verse 25, we are reminded that in every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So it is very important for us to be temperate. And as you know, temperate is basically, it is basically moderation, being in self-control of what you do, and we'll go into that. So true temperance, it teaches us to dispense entirely with everything hurtful and to use judiciously that which is helpful. So in order to preserve health, temperance in all things is necessary. Temperance in labor, yes. Temperance in eating, in drinking. So we are to be temperate in everything. Now there are few who realize, as they showed how much their habits of diet have to do with their health. their character, their usefulness in this world, and their eternal destiny. So the appetite should never be in subjection to the moral and intellectual powers. The body should be servant to the mind and not the mind to the body. So it is a mindset. We have to determine in our minds that we want to control ourselves in every aspect. As we said, in labor, or the work, how much hours of work you put in terms of what you eat, regardless of what you like it or not, it is a mindset. So we have to control how we go about doing things. And 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 31 remind us, whether therefore you eat or you drink or whatsoever you do, we have to do all to the glory of God. Because, of course, our bodies are the temple of the living God. So we have to glorify God in all that we do. Now, what Proverbs tells us in Proverbs 23, verse 1 to 2, whether when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. So it is possible to eat immoderately, even with wholesome food. So you might be eating good stuff, healthy stuff, but you could be very immoderate in how you go about doing it. So that's the call that you have to consider the amount that you eat, the time that you eat, because you have to do everything in moderation. Even in labor, as I said, as Ecclesiastes 6 and verse 7 says that all the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. So the controlling power of appetite will prove the reign of thousands, when if they had conquered at this point, they will have had moral power to gain the victory over every temptation of sin. But those who are slaves to appetite will fail in perfecting Christian character. So, moderation, keep emphasizing, temperance is critical even for helping us overcome temptations that will come up. And then we have to allow God to work with us to overcome foods which may be addicted, or we may be addicted to certain foods. Addiction to food can cause overeating and overweight. It also decreases the immune system, thus opening the door for disease. So we have to be mindful of overeating and the cause of that to our bodies. It is said that jogging can cause an enlarged heart, but walking is the best exercise for the disease. It may sound strange, but walking is preferably to riding or driving, for it brings more of the muscles into exercise. So this is one way of helping us to control, things that we do or things that we eat. If we have the tendency to just sit and just enjoy all that we want and just keep going hours and upon hours upon hours, we have to think of the other laws of health, such as exercise. And this one is walking. That could help us to exercise our muscles, our mind, free our minds, and whatever craving we have will eventually go away, because we are exercising our muscles, our brain, and everything. So it is very important. Mark 6:31 says, and he said unto me, come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while. For there are many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. So in the Bible, in scripture, of course, it tells us the importance of rest. You keep going and going and going. Of course, it has the adverse effects on our bodies. Even if you love your job, you love what you do, and sometimes we tend to want to just work until we get solve whatever solutions we are trying to get at, whatever work we are doing until we finish, we're not satisfied. But it's very important that we need to rest. It is an easy matter to lose the health, but it is difficult to regain the health. And we cannot afford to dwarf or cripple a single function of the mind or body by overwork or abuse of any part of the living machine. Very easy to lose your health if we are not focused on what we are doing, you know? So in other words, we have to go beyond what we like or what it feels good. And we have to think of our own health. Because if we lose that healthy structure, healthy functions of our organs, even our mind that become overtaxed, and we lose, those mental faculties, it is very, very difficult to regain. So that is why it's important for us to understand the importance of temperance in our bodies, of temperance in everything that we do. So some may at times be placed where this is necessary, but it should be the exception and not the rule. We are to practice temperance in all things. And you see the watchword there is practice. Why practice? Because you're trying to overcome something of the mind and something that you may say it's an addiction, it's what your body accustomed to, it's a habit that you're accustomed to. So you have to practice being temperate in everything. So if there's a certain type of food you love and the quantity you want to eat it very often, what we are saying here is that you have to determine the portion that you want to eat and the frequency. So come like you have to, set a timetable for yourself. That if you feel that you're indulging too much, maybe sweets, could be sweets. If you're indulging too much in sweets, you may say to you, give yourself a timetable that I want to reduce the amount of sweets that I'm consuming on a daily basis. And then you have to practice that and get it under control. And of course, your body will love you for that. And further, by these, Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 20 saying, my son, be admonished of making many books, there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So even in those who are studying, and we love to go hours upon hours upon hours, you have to consider as well being temperate there. You must take a break. You must, have other things you have to be doing so that your brain could be at ease and relaxed in order for you to get true success. So you have to consider that as well. Even in schoolwork or those who might have a lot of assignments, you have to be temperate in the amount of time that we put in at once, right? And then it is said that intemperance in study is a species of intoxication. And those who indulge in it, like a drunkard, they wander from safe paths and stumble and fall in the darkness. So the Lord will have every student to bear in mind that the eye must be kept singular to the glory of God. So everything you do must be to the glory of God. So it's quite important that even if we love to do this, we love to study, we have to put in a lot, we have to excel, we have to be on top of the game, but it is comparing our intemperance here to a drunken man. And of course, you know a drunken man, they have no control how they walk because, the mind are not at ease. So they can't be stable. You see, they wobble from one part to the other on the road. And if you're comparing that to us, once we are not temperate, it's telling us it's the same effect. Our minds have become unstable, right? We can't function. So we think we are doing ourselves good. It is not. Okay? Eventually, you're not able to function effectively. So this is something we have to be mindful why it is a call for us to be temperate, even in our studies, right? And it says that he is not to exhaust and waste his physical and mental powers in seeking to acquire all possible knowledge of the science, but is to preserve the freshness and vigor of all powers to engage in the work which the Lord has appointed him in helping souls to find the path of righteousness. So I will repeat this part, right? That he is not to exhaust and waste his physical and mental powers in seeking to acquire all possible knowledge of the sciences, but is to preserve the freshness and vigor of all his powers to engage in the work which the Lord has appointed him in helping souls to find the path of righteousness. So this calls for balance in all that we do. God has a work for us to do. And if we are too tired, we overworked ourselves, our brain cannot function, we cannot think to do God's bidding. This is not what God wanted from us. So we are to be mindful that God has a work for us to do, and as much as we are called upon to occupy and to do what we can do, we have to be careful that sometimes our efforts may crowd out the work that God expects of us. So my admonition for us is that we are to consider the importance of our calling, what God expects of us, why he wants us to be temperate. Because if we're not, we are not doing justice to our bodies. We are basically exhausting ourselves, bringing diseases upon ourselves. And once diseases are upon us, it is more expensive, very difficult, costly. We have to spend a lot on treatment. We have to spend a lot of time of visiting doctors or even of getting natural remedies. We have spent a lot of time. So we have to be mindful of that. And God wants us to be temperate in the things that we eat, to be temperate in our work, the time we put into our work, even studying. So in our physical, activities as we go about day by day, God wants us to be temperate. But at the same time, we have to practice. Practice, practice, practice. And I always learn that practice make us perfect in a sense that if we practice to do the right things, we'll do the right things. So if we practice to control things that you love, control what you eat, control the time we spend watching television or the time we spend on social media, if we control the time that we, that we spend too much time on, then we will have enough time, I will say, to do the work that God called us to do. So I hope that tonight the message will clear to us and we can able to use the time that God given us wisely and well And God He's always there to give us that admonition, to guide us through in all that we do. So may God continue to bless us as we aim to observe all the laws of health and to, at the end of the day, is to be healthy, free of disease, and to be do God's bidding. Thank you very much. Jason, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sister Roxanne. Could not have said it any better. Nothing need to be added to that. Excellent, excellent job. And thank you everyone for showing up. Happy Sabbath to you all. And remember, as we go into the Sabbath, let us practice temperance. Temperance in eating, temperance in drinking, temperance in dressing, and temperance in working. So happy Sabbath. We'll continue the training